We're back. We're ready. Series 2 is upon us here on our day of death between Cloud9 Academy and Cloud9 Amateur. Two Cloud9 organizations, or two Cloud9 teams looking to make a statement for their organization here in the Proving Grounds losers bracket. Smacks, it is going to be an exciting series because this is the matchup that everyone likes to talk about, not just for playoff or for scouting grounds purposes, but also for just purely the bragging potential.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this one because for Cloud9 Academy, I don't think anyone really expected that they would be in this position this early on into the tournament. Obviously, Resolve clearly had a lot of confidence in that series to knock them down to the lower bracket, and I'm sure they were expecting to win. But for Cloud9, this is a Cloud9 Academy, I should say. We're gonna have to practice saying the full name for this one today, as we've got both of them. Cloud9 Academy, they had a really strong showing in the Academy playoffs. They almost took the entire thing. They went to a Game 5 situation in the finals against Team Liquid, almost completing that full reverse sweep. Super, super close. And then to get 0-2'd in the first round, not what they were looking for. So Cloud9 Academy have a lot to live up to, as they were the finalists in the first Proving Grounds ever in the spring.
Yeah. And it's not just that, they were also the first team during spring as well for the Academy. This is one of the teams that is really, top to bottom stacked with star-studded talent. We have long-standing LCS talent such as Darshan holding it up in the top lane. You got Suredfire, King, and Isles also all here coming in from other regions, and everyone minus Copy on the Cloud9 Academy roster has attended Worlds at least once, so it's not like these players are at all, new to the scene. Copy really being kind of the newest member here, and even he has played in the LCS on Dignitas before, so a lot of talent coming in from the side of Cloud9 Academy, and they're facing up against their little sister, Oregon Cloud9 Amateur.
Yeah, this has been a great split for Cloud9 Academy or Cloud9 Amateur. I should have practiced this before. Cloud9 Amateur have had a great split as well. They placed second in Risen, and that qualified them for this Proving Grounds tournament against Wildcard Red, who were completely unbeatable in the Proving Grounds qualifiers. Let's be completely fair. Placing second is effectively placing first if you discount how good Wildcard is. So the fact that they did perform super well, this split is a really big deal. And this is a team that's been playing together for months and months and months. This is a really storied roster in the Proving Grounds and amateur side of things in this entire year. And I'm really impressed with specifically, I think Speedo has really turned this split around, because I think in the spring, he was not one of the stronger performers on this squad, but I think Speedo has actually made a really solid name for himself in the summer. He's actually had some really strong carry performances on things like Lee Sin in the top lane, when that was meta, of course. And I think Lee Sin is probably the champion that you just have to ban away every single game if you're on the side of Cloud9 Academy, because there's just way too many players on that champion on Cloud9 Amateur.
And we can't forget about the teammates that make this all possible for Speedo as well. Captain Shrimps in particular comes to mind. A mid lane player that plays a very supportive style and has an absolute champion, Ocean, one of the few players that is still playing the Galio. And we saw the mid-singe last week, or in the first week, I should say, of Proving Grounds into the Aurelia. He's a man who's not afraid to step in towards these really weird niche champions, and his ability to constantly have something new and interesting to play in the mid lane does open up a lot of avenues for the entirety of Cloud9 Amateur to be able to put more focus on their top laner, on their bottom laner, on their jungler, into these other roles, because they know that Captain Shrimps will always be okay at the end of the day.
I think the most consistent player on this squad as well is Wixie. He's been a huge pop-off player in the entire year for Cloud9 Amateur. He's been one of my favorite players to watch play from the bot lane role. I'm expecting some pretty big sparks from him and his duo Breezy against the likes of King and Isles today.
It should be an exciting series we have ahead of us as the Civil War breaks out. But before that, we got a 2-minute break hitting you guys first. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with the first champion select here between Cloud9 Academy and Cloud9 Amateur here in Week 3, Day 2 of Proving Grounds. Champion select has arrived here at the Cloud9 Amateur versus Cloud9 Academy Game 1, ladies and gentlemen. Already hopping into things. We do have this Rise being taken off the table here from the side of Cloud9 Amateur. They got that Champion Ocean in the middle lane that we were talking about before, so trying to target out Copy here on the side of Cloud9 Academy. The star up-and-coming mid laner here for the Academy team is a great place to be starting if you're C9 Amateur.
We're getting bombarded by all this blue from Cloud9. I wasn't actually ready for that one after we just watched 3 drafts that were very yellow and green, but no, it's just a flash to my face. And the Rise ban helps out too, but touching a little bit more on these drafts, the Lee Sin, you have to ban that one against Cloud9 Amateur. Like I said before, they have too many people who can play that champion really well on their side, and one of those that we didn't get the chance to talk about as much is Xu. This guy has been a really cool jungler to watch for Cloud9 Amateur. He's got a pretty unique champion pool as well, and one that's very aggressive typically. He's one of the only junglers that is playing a lot of Lilia, but on the other side, Cloud9 Academy have an AP jungler specialist in their Schernfire as well, and I'm expecting maybe some Fiddlesticks gets played today.
I love the sound of all these AP junglers. I personally am a huge Lilia fan. I think that champion, especially after the mini adjustment that she got, is really strong. Not just in the jungle, but was also kind of dominant in the top lane as well for quite a while. They're going the Conqueror, sort of Bruiser AP build here. But we got some quick fire picks coming in here from both of these teams with an understanding of what they want to do. That Twisted Fate, that global pressure here for Captain Shrimps in the mid lane coming out right off the bat from Cloud9 Amateur. Meanwhile, the Academy team wanting to answer it with a couple of very heavily prioritized picks at the moment. Aurelia and Varus right off the bat, looking to set themselves up for some very successful team fights.
Cloud9 Academy clearly know what champions they think are very, very powerful, and those are Varus and Aurelia. Aurelia, of course, being that flex pick, can go mid, can go top. And when they are on red side, that's a pick that you can mask pretty much forever in this draft until you get to that last option. So for Cloud9, they have that option for them. They can send this into the Twisted Fate or wait to see what Speedo's got in store for us. But Xu already showing us some uniqueness in the jungle. Back on the Graves for him, and they're backing it up with a lot of support. That gold card from Captain Shrimps, and Wixie playing the Jhin as well, a very supportive, long-range utility-style marksman.
And it's already some very fast pick and bans here. I wonder how much skirmishing these two teams do behind closed doors. You know, both being part of that Cloud9 organization means that they must be in cahoots with each other quite often. Always talking about new and upcoming strategies that they have for each other. This Echo is being locked in here by Cloud9 Academy. Second ban phase here. First thing being taken off the table is the Leona. It is going to be a specialty of Breezy, something that he's known for playing a lot. And with that Thresh being banned off of the table, I'm surprised that Leona wasn't picked up earlier in the draft, as it is something that Cloud9 Amateur typically likes to pilot for themselves.
I'm checking right now, and I'm not seeing any other Echo games in all of Proving Grounds so far. I think this is the first Echo game of the entire tournament. And while it's pretty safe to assume that's going mid lane, I feel like Schernfire is the exact jungler that I would expect to play this in the jungle too. Now, I am pretty sure it hasn't been buffed yet on this patch. I'm pretty sure the Echo Jungle buff came through on 11.18. But regardless, that is that flex pick. Maybe Schernfire pulls it out. It's a cool, unique pick that Cloud9 Academy are pulling out. We know that this team has been really known for their wacky picks. The Fiddlesticks for Schernfire. Darshan has his Tryndamere that he plays from time to time in the top lane. But we're going back to something standard. It's going to be Rakan for Isles.
So I can confirm for you, Smax, that the Echo buff did come out in 11.17 for the jungle.
Ooh, maybe so it is jungle.
But what's even spicier is that there's Tryndamere buffs coming up in 11.18, so keep your eyes out on that for Darshan pulling these out in future games as well. Now, Rakan is going to be picked up here by the side of Cloud9 Academy, which means that Amateur has to pick up their last two picks here, as there's been a lot of focus in the top lane for these last rounds of bans here. Renekton, Jace, and Camille all taken off of the board. It means that Pantheon is the pickup here, most likely going over to Speedo, but with this final lock in here, we'll know whether they're deciding to flex this one down towards the bottom lane as a support to back up Wixie, or if they're going to be running something different in the support role.
And this is the second Pantheon game that we've seen today. Teams really valuing the point-click stun utility of this pick and then the global threat of it as well. Paired up with Twisted Fate again, also. Golden Guardians and Cloud9 Amateur on the same page. And as you shouted out, Icarus, it is going to be support Pantheon. That's an Ornn for Speedo in the top lane to counteract perhaps this Irelia. This is just setting this tone for what Cloud9 Amateur want to do. They are down to scale in this game, but they're going to have to do it against a Gwen that's just been locked in for Darshan. He picked this champion last match as well and just ran over the Rift with it.
Gwen is such a strong scaling pick. Once you have that Rift Maker and that Nashor's Tooth combined in order to provide so much utility, or so much sustain really, in these mid to late game team fights, and the amount of damage that can come out from Darshan is going to be something to fear indeed. It looks like he might even be running that Ignite teleport in the top lane, as we saw Niles do in that very last game there of our previous series. So really looking to bring the pressure, trying to win that top lane, especially into something like the Ornn that isn't super aggressive here for Speedo. Tends to lose those early trades, and when you bring the Ignite, it means that Gwen can get rolling early, which makes it all that much scarier.
A lot of top laners are debating whether or not the Ignite or the Ghost is better for that one. I think the consensus is that Ignite is stronger for the lane, and it's stronger against teams that have a lot of healing on them. And perhaps XU is going to have a lot of lifesteal later, so maybe that's a scaling factor that you can consider when thinking about taking Ignite. But regardless, it won't be Ghost for Darshan. He wants to have the extra damage packed in. And, I mean, for Speedo, you now have to be so worried in this matchup that you're going to get killed, even though you're this big super tank that wants to go to late game.
And we're on the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for game one here between Cloud9 Amateur hitting it up on the blue side and Cloud9 Academy, your second place Academy team, finding themselves in the losers bracket here of week 3, day 2 of the 2021 summer split of Proving Grounds. Both teams setting up very standard so far in this early stages. Not a whole lot of deep ward coverage has been set up yet either, though. Maybe King and the rest of Cloud9 Academy look to step forward, but instead they just want to make sure that they have the safest start possible, as neither one of these teams know where they want to begin this game just quite yet.
And we were so excited about this Gwen in the top lane that we forgot to mention that it is in fact going to be Echo Jungle for Schernfire. This is the first Echo pick of the entire tournament. He is known for playing mage junglers, and this is going to be no different. A nice pick against Graves, historically speaking. They're going to have to deal with this.
Triple stun by Schernfire.
Oh my
this is
God.
going to be disastrous as Breezy has to flash. Breezy goes down early. Wixie and Zayu still have to back away here. The Graves, the Jhin, all three flashes blown here by the members of Cloud9 Amateur that have been stunned up. And Schernfire, he shows us why he likes the AP junglers.
That was so insane from Cloud9. 3-man stun into 3-man knockup into 3-man stun again. Yeah, Copy has to take the flawless duet in the lane, which isn't as good, but I mean, that's just a highlight reel play right there for Cloud9 Academy. Absolutely beautiful shut down against the amateur squad. And as you said, now there are no flashes for the junglers or the bot lane either. Cloud9 Amateur are so vulnerable all of a sudden, and I was about to mention how Surenfire has a really nice matchup because Graves typically does very well against AD threats because he has to stack up that armor from Grit. Echo doesn't really care about that one. He's dealing most of his damage as magic, so he gets to deal maximum damage to this marksman jungler.
And already we see the bullying that is happening on the bot side. There's no flash, there's no heal available for Wixie either, and he's losing out on these trades versus the early game power that is this Varus picked up by King. So much pressure in the early game going over towards Cloud9 Academy. And I like what you were talking about there. When you have a scaling pick like this Graves getting the Echo ahead early, it doesn't matter if he has the increased resistances, you can still bully out this hard farming Graves who wants itemizations first. If you're playing this Dark Harvest invade style of Echo that Surenfire has. Fight on the bottom side, Breezy goes forward. He doesn't have a flash, he has Ignite still, but it is again another losing trade from the bottom lane here of Cloud9 Amateur.
And I love what King did in this lane as well. He started with cloth armor, 4 potions. His health pool is gigantic against this poke lane that would otherwise be such a huge nuisance for Breezy and Wixie. He doesn't have to worry nearly as much right now as we're seeing the fruits of that labor come to fruition. He now has a gigantic CS lead, he has that first blood, and he can just play with the hearts of Cloud9 Amateur now. And this Pantheon support that would otherwise be very powerful in this lane is all but mitigated because of this.
And it's really great into the Graves and the double AD threat on the bottom side as well. Oh, yeah. The extra armor is doing so much work here, and he already gets to go back here without a teleport. He has that cleanse available and flash still for himself. Gets the early back here with that wave reset, and now he has an early serrated Dirk as well. So much extra damage coming in here from the bottom lane of Cloud9 Academy. So we're taking a look at the top side though. Darshan getting shoved in here. XU is also set up on this top side of the map, is going to be going for an invade. He'll be looking to just kind of scale up this game, farm out as much of his jungle as he can, and hopefully some of the enemy jungle as well here, as we'll have a very distinct differences in styles between both junglers. Captain Shrimps dropping down extremely low as Isles comes in. That's going to be the rotate coming in from Breezy as well. No full engage from either side though, as both mid laners going to back off away.
Alice got slightly greedy with his positioning on the grand entrance, tried to pop up both members of Cloud9 Amateur, but ends up getting a field goal there, whiffing on both goalposts. And Copy, while he does use all of his mana, still gets a nice trade. Has to worry about what the rest of this lane looks like unless he takes a recall and teleports back. Captain Shrimps can push on this wave and get a favorable trade. Just a nice roam up from those supports here. It ends up favoring Amateur, and we'll see what comes of this matchup now in the mid lane because of this. I think Captain Shrimps is really keen on getting out of this lane as soon as possible. He doesn't like the matchup into the Irelia. He doesn't want to get locked down because even though he has his flash, does not have any other way to get out of a stun. That's a 5-minute cooldown, so you have to be very careful.
Irelia's always kind of been one of those deadly mid laners that if she's able to get on top of you, can take you to the fountain quicker than you can hit your flash key, especially once those level 6s are available. Captain Shrimps just getting access to that Destiny now. He's already shoved out the lane. Is going to be looking to reset here, get his items underneath his belt, and look for his very first Destiny right off of the back of that immediate level 6 he hits here. So I have to see where he looks to prioritize. Is he looking towards that top lane? No, because Gwen is not there. So instead, he might be looking for the gank on this bottom side of the map. Teleport used to the mid lane just to catch the wave.
Players were getting pretty greedy with the way they were playing those waves, and Copy, the greediest boy of all, stays in the mid lane even after that teleport comes through from Captain Shrimps. He is now at a pretty massive item. No, actually, I'm completely wrong. Copy got a recall before. My bad. He got to teleport back. He already has the Iron Spike whip, so I'm just completely wrong. But Cloud9 Academy, they're trying to stack up for this Infernal Dragon. They can't trade for anything on the top side of the map because the Rift Herald is only up in another minute's time. Keep the Scuttle Crab priority, but they really want these ultimates to be unlocked. They have Irelia ults, What a stun.
Poppy has seen them. He goes in, double stun. That's going to be the ultimate as well. Breezy has to flash away here. Will stay safe, but the re-engage onto Copy, who now has to flash. That's the ignite.
Oh.
That's going to be the deadly flourish. Doesn't get the kill. Speedo finds it for himself on the back of that dash there.
Oh.
Now it's going to be the re-engage. So much damage. Captain Shrimps finds himself in the backline with a great destiny, and the gold card will secure himself a double kill. 3-0. Cloud9 Amateur. They give up first blood, but they find the first team fight.
Amazing play by Cloud9 Amateur. They commit teleport from Speedo to get onto the Rift. They have Destiny as well. So there's no place for Cloud9 Academy to hide. All the while, Darshan keeps his teleport in the top lane. He thought that his team would be okay without him, but he was completely wrong. Completely running over the Rift now as Cloud9 Amateur. We get to watch this one again. Watch this Ornn ultimate just rip through everyone alongside the utility from Wixie from really outside of the entire fight.
And it started so well here for Cloud9 Academy, but Captain Shrimps is able to rotate. He gets a stun on a Copy who goes just a little bit too long, and there it is. Smacks 3 members knocked up. Kings, who wasn't even available, who you couldn't even see in that fight because he was in the bush, gets knocked up by it, which means that this Varus doesn't get any kind of DPS down onto his opponents. And it really opens up the rest of that team fight. And as we said, the Destiny into the backline to see the rest of Cloud9 Academy backing away there will secure an extra 2 kills for the mid laner of the amateur team here. Now sitting at 2-0 and 1. Twisted Fate looking to continue and apply pressure on this map, but he still has to wait for that Destiny to come up. Still playing very defensively and very smart here from Captain Shrimps, making sure not to lose any of this lead that he's accrued for himself.
The heads-up awareness to lock in gold card for that play as well is really cool. He knows that all the members of Cloud9 Academy are stacked up. He can get maximum value out of it, slowing 3 members. And I like the way that he's playing this lane, too. Yes, he's down 20 CS, and he knows that he can't go into an auto-attack duel with Copy. He is almost certainly going to lose that, but he's just picking up all the minions that he can. He knows that he is the utility for his team, and even though he has that double kill from before, that's still his role. He's there to back up the squad.
Rift Hero being fought over. He's dropping down extremely low, but it might reset. It is going to finally reset at the back of this fight. Breezy is dropping down extremely low. XU has to use the ultimate, trying to keep himself safe. But Copy going deep once more here. Surenfire, though, is there to back him up this time around. The Echo's going deep. He has to use the parallel convergence in order to back out. And it is Speedo, whose life is sacrificed here to the hands of Darshan in order to get his team out alive. The Rift Hero will reset and most likely go over to the hands of Cloud9 Academy after that play.
Breezy is getting a lot of mileage out of his E damage reduction there. This is the second fight in a row where he was almost surely dead if he was playing any other champion. But the Pantheon utility, while is selfish for support, ends up coming up really clutch for this champion, and Breezy showing his worth on this pick and on his team once more. Saying that, though, Cloud9 Academy went out in this fight to get a pick for Darshan. He is still playing quite selfishly himself. He's getting more turret plates in his top lane, and his team is doing the dirty work for him, taking this Rift Herald.
It's surprising to see that it's Cloud9 Amateur coming in here, being able to pick this one up, even though they
That's
lost
true.
that
I got
last
baited
fight.
by the C9 again.
It's
My
C9
bad.
all day, every day, Smacks, but it is the amateur team. The reset being opted instead for the Academy roster here, so they will be able to spend some of that gold that they were able to pick up off the back of that last fight. In particular, Darshan able to go back just now and complete his Rift Maker, so that sustain now available for the Gwen in the top lane, the late game carry that we've been talking about since champion select here. Smacks trying to get set up and rolling towards that second item. He's so far applied so much pressure on this top side of the map that despite the fact that it is 3-2 in kills, it is still a gold advantage going over to Cloud9 Academy because of the CS differentials that they've managed to accrue themselves in almost every lane.
Nice bonus to have for Cloud9 Academy. It is every lane, actually. If you're counting the jungle, then well, Icarus, that's not a lane. So I'm calling semantics on this one. I think Cloud9 Academy are doing it, and it's working really well. This is just one of the ways the Cloud9 Academy like to gain advantages early and then just stall out the game from there, knowing that that is their main strength. It is one of the things that they did against Resolve also, but unfortunately Resolve had a pretty strong strategy of picking full scaling and locking an Ornn in the top lane. Does that sound familiar to this game?
Oh, Graves, Twisted Fate, and an Ornn in the top lane. It does kind of sound familiar here, Smacks, as it's looking like a dive on the bottom side of the map here for Academy. That's going to be a great flash wave by Wixie Nor, keep himself away from the parallel convergence, but it will mean that Breezy goes down. Noble sacrifice from the support here of the amateur roster. Meanwhile, the fight continues. Captain Trips teleport into this fight, but Destiny is only going to show that his destiny is death as he goes down. 2 more teleports coming in here. Speedo's finally showing up to the fight, but it's going to be matched short. It's going to be matched shortly by Darshan. That's the ultimate. The Horn is coming in and knocks up 3. They're going to be able to shut down the Aurelia, but how much more can Cloud9 Amateur get before they sacrifice their own lives? It's going to be 1 more kill picked up by the Academy roster here, as this time King finds the execute onto Speedo, and now the 4 remaining members are trying to back away here. There's going to be no engage from the amateur team, and it will be Cloud9 Academy picking up 3 kills, but they lose copy in the process.
Fight lasted so long that Breezy's here again, but as you mentioned, Cloud9 Academy feeling pretty advantageous after this. King has been spotted. I think he's okay because he slowed the mobility boots movement speed of Breezy, but Breezy's not done. Just going directly into the jungle. He's still chasing him down.
Varus, where'd you go? It is gonna mean.
Oh my god!
Oh, he's still going. This is actually huge though, because this means that there's going to be Dragon priority given over to the Cloud9 amateur team here. Smacks, and just like that, King wasn't able to reset. The rest of Cloud9 Academy was just resetting across the map because it took so long for them to get back to base. That with that Dragon spawning, it is 2 early Drakes and 2 of the best singular Drakes here for the side of Cloud9 Amateur in that Infernal, in that mountain, and now they are 2 stacks closer towards that Ocean Soul, which is going to be spawning in the next 5 minutes.
Watch this dive from Cloud9 Academy once more. And I think it's important to note that, yes, it looks silly that Speedo is teleporting to the fight after a good chunk of his team is dead, but he literally doesn't have it up until the very second that he uses it. You can see it at the bottom of your screen there. He uses it immediately on cooldown, trying to scrounge up something from this fight, and he does. Speedo does actually get himself a kill again in this team fight, but yeah, again, the reason that I'm having to defend this is because he is teleporting very late to the team fight. It's not as effective as you would necessarily expect, and I think that's a really nice play from Cloud9 Academy. They play off teleport cooldowns.
Ooh, Darshan going a little too far forward here. He will get collapsed upon by the jungler of the amateur team here. XU able to pick up a kill for himself. The scaling Graves now 2-0 and 3 from a little bit of over-aggression here coming in from the top laner of the Academy roster.
Can't do a whole lot. Again, oh, wait. Oh my god.
Oh, Speedo getting caught deep in his own territory here. Wait a second. Surenfire copy. Isles, King, they're all inside of that top lane turret. They're in that top jungle section. Despite the fact that both outer turrets are still up and available, that's going to be the curtain call that is used by Wixie Nor, try and buy as much time for the rest of Cloud9 Amateur to show up here. Isles going back in will just buy space for the rest of his team to back away, and that's going to be the battle bounce back out. Speedo dying underneath tier 2 turret here. What a dive coming in from the Academy.
With the number of full 5v5 team fights happening in this game, you would think that it was already late, but we just hit 15 minutes. This game is going so fast, and I think this is a really cool adaptation for Cloud9 because I keep bringing up that surprising loss that they took in round 1, but it's because it really was surprising. We had a lot of really high expectations for Cloud9 Academy, and the big thing that they ended up losing out on was because they didn't keep their lead going and snowball it further than they had at the beginning of the game, and they let their teams that they were against snowball and scale as well. Cloud9 Academy are stepping on the gas. They are not letting this game go slowly at all. They're going for dive after dive after dive, and while they keep their CS advantages going, they're still using those more so than just having these high fancy numbers.
And it's kind of what they have to do here, though, with their almost triple bruiser composition. You have the Gwen, you have the Echo, you have the Aurelia, and King doesn't exactly scale super hard on this lethality. Varus, you really do need to be taking a lot of 5-on-5 composition fights, and the sooner you start on them, the sooner you can really capitalize on some of these immobile carries that Cloud9 Amateur has there. Wixie having to use the heal in that exact situation alongside the Gale Force just to make sure he gets away from that middle of mid lane collapse that was coming in from the Academy roster.
key cooldowns from Wixie. He doesn't care too much about the Gale Force, but what Cloud9 Academy gain from this is a full Rift Herald, that they don't have to worry about any play happening from Cloud9 Amateur. This is going to be the first objective of the game, shockingly, for Cloud9 Academy, or at least the neutral ones that did take the first turret top. But Surenfire has not made his way into any of the pits thus far. XU has the first two Drakes. Playing a Darshan.
Collapse on the bottom side of the map. Darshan getting CC trained here. He's doing a lot to survive, though. That Riftmaker putting in so much work, but finally the execute coming in from Breezy. Teleport coming in from Copy here. That's a flash forward. The ultimate comes true. Stun barely not landing. One more auto attack will trade the kill, and it's going to be actually dropping down extremely low, as well as two members of the Amateur team are going down here. Cloud9 Amateur, they need to back up. Breezy, your shield is not going to save you this time. No matter how much damage you mitigate, you cannot walk away from three members by yourself. And with 30 seconds on this dragon spawning, Cloud9 Academy are setting up for their first Drake of the game.
Nice proactive play from Cloud9 Amateur, but they just reach way too far to get it. And that's a lot due to Darshan's resilience on Gwen. This champion is such a nuisance to try to kill. You have the Hollowed Mist to stay alive through all of it, and then with this build, you have a million ways to sustain yourself too with all the healing. Took them way too long to kill, and it sent them way too far, so now Copy gets to teleport and punish them. And they get to pop the mid lane turret as well with that Rift Herald that they got before. Cloud9 Academy now with 3 turrets off the map.
Surenfire going to take a little bit of damage, but should be out over the wall. Third dragon of the game has spawned onto the map here. Smacks of both teams are starting to gather around this bottom side river. They want to get priority. They want to get this ward coverage so that they can start up this objective. Cloud9 Amateur, they want it so they can put themselves on still point and force Academy to play to their tempo. The Academy team, though, they don't want to give this over. That's going to be the Ornhorn to start off the fight. Surenfire gets stunned up. It's going to be the battle dance coming in from Isles. So many members of the Amateur team have been knocked up. They've been CC'd. King is going to find the first. Copy is going to find the second. And the rest of Academy is there to follow up. It is a wombo combo coming in from the Cloud9 Academy team. And they find a 4-man for 0 team fight.
Oh, no!
He said it was a big fight. Oh, the ace! Coming in, Copy with a mechanical outplay.
Nowhere is safe from Cloud9 Academy. That's a 5 for 0 ace. And Isles on this Rakan cannot be stopped. What a team fight play. Let's watch this guy again. Look at Isles' crowd control. He stays with the quickness for a very long time, and he has the pinpoint precision to charm and knock up 3 members. And then when Breezy tries to stun him, he just gets charmed up as well. You can't get lost in the Rakan sauce right there, Breezy. You gotta help out your backline, and all the while, Wixie is trying desperately to get the curtain call shots to do anything, but it's way too late. His team's too dead, and the members of Cloud9 Academy are too tanky, as we see he falls also.
The beauty of this triple bruiser composition coming in from Cloud9 Academy means that they can take these team fights to you, despite the fact that it was a pretty significant Ornhorn coming in from Speedo as well. He was able to find multiple knockups in that fight, but just did not have the follow-up that it needed. Meanwhile, when Isles gets in with that quickness, there is immediately Copy, Darshan, and King to follow up. Everybody piles on, and they find a successful team fight here at just 18 to 19 minutes into this game, turning this one wide open as they have established a 7,500 gold lead. And just take a look at what that means for itemization differences. You have 2 items to the 1.5 in the mid lane. You have 2 items in the jungle to the 1.5 of their opponent here. Bottom lane, 2.5 items. Meanwhile, Wixie still trying to complete that second item for himself. And you don't even have your mythic item completed by either supports, but those should be done soon.
Trips has to flash away from the Chains of Corruption. He barely keeps himself alive, but only for a brief amount of time. The needlework is coming through, and I don't think Captain Shrimps has any way to run.
Unfortunate pick there. Captain Shrimps goes down, but the rest of the fight is breaking out in the mid lane. Copy, he's going deep underneath turret here. He wants the solo kill. 1v2. There's going to be no Blade Surge reset there, though. In order to pick up that kill, he must stop his rampage, but it does not matter. He's already found the kill for his team, which means his team can come in and pick up that inner turret as well. And Cloud9 Academy, they're looking to run away with this game.
Absolutely are. Copy is taking no prisoners on Irelia, Icarus. He is just diving into this backline and playing like it's Kha'Zix or Rengar, just diving past all the front line, jumping directly onto Wixie and making sure that he does not have a fun time in this game. Cloud9 Academy, they keep this lead going, and you have to imagine that they're looking at this Baron soon, because the next Drake doesn't spawn for another 2.5 minutes. What else are they going to do at this time? They already have this huge lead. You want to keep flexing this more. You want to keep that advantage going, and, I mean, you can go for picks as well, like that. That doesn't hurt.
Wait a second. Oh, where did Breezy go? Smacks, questions, but no answers. He just disappears right off the map. Not even mobility beats are going to save you from that burst when you get stunned up for so long, and that's going to be the signal for Cloud9 Academy to start up this Baron with the support down. There is no ward in the pit. Panther Trip, we'll see this one happening. Teleport used preemptively here. 5,000 health on the Baron, hitting 4,000. When is the trigger going to be pulled? That's not the trigger we were hoping to see here. The jungler's got to try and get in the pit before this one goes down, but no, it will be secured by Academy, and now they're looking to go for it. Isles, that's going to be the quick list. That's going to be the knockup. Speedo goes down first. Follow up onto XU. Here, not quite going to go down, but Copy once again with the ultimate is showing up huge in this first game of our best of 3 series. Captain Tripped is not going to be slung for this world either, nor is Breezy going down one more time. It is a repeat on the ace here. Breezy goes down for the 6th kill of that fight.
There's just nothing that Cloud9 Amateur can do right now. They lost one of their members before it even began. Breezy tries to get some vision knowing that the Baron is coming, but you can't just face check these brushes and expect to get all of the turrets and all the wards rather down as Cloud9 Academy take the mid lane turret. Might be an inhibitor alongside it. Yes, it is. Already making that Baron buff worth it. But there's still 2 more minutes left of that. You have to imagine that Cloud9 Amateur are preparing for the worst. They might lose in that time still.
There's a real big gold lead here for the side of Cloud9 Academy. And at this point, I'm not sure there's much Cloud9 Academy could do to throw this one away. When you're sitting, 13,500 gold up, you're sitting real pretty here. That's a whole item on multiple members across the board here. As we have the completed Zanyas coming into the jungle here for Suredfire. 24 stacks on his Medjais as well, alongside that Sheen that he was just able to pick up for himself. It is now 3.5 completed items to the 1.5 in the bottom lane as well here. Bot lane inner turret's going to be going down for even more gold as the most expensive turret in the game to break. This one is looking so clean here from Cloud9 Academy. They want to prove that they deserve a spot here at Proving Grounds, and that they are not afraid to take out their sister team to do so.
Bringing all the minions, all the players down to the spot lane to take out an inhibitor turret number 2, and maybe even the Nexus after this, as we're looking for a huge team fight for Cloud9 Academy. They've got everyone stacked up. I'm sensing a fight.
Super minions in the mid wave as well here, Smacks. They're looking to end this game out at just 25 minutes. Minion waves are starting to hit the turret here. Cloud9 Amateur, you gotta pull the trigger at some point. You have the Ornhorn, you have your entire team here. That's going to be the curtain call called out here, but no, the Ornhorn does not get hit. Instead, it gets dodged away from Speedo, who are able to continue the fight. Suredfire, Copy, everybody pile in here. It's going to be game 1 as Cloud9 Academy are too big to fail. They are going to be taking this first game of the series in a commanding fashion.
Copy even diving into the fountain to get those kills, Icarus. This was a slaughter. More kills than minutes on the side of Cloud9 Academy. And, I mean, if you really think about it, it kind of makes sense. Cloud9 Academy playing up against the little brother. You expect that these guys are going to be the dominating team. You expect that they're going to have the advantage in a series like this. But to have it be that one-sided, that's got to feel good for the Academy boys.
It feels definitely like the older brother sat forward in his chair there when playing games versus the little bro and saying, we went light on you in scrims, but this is a stage game. We got to show you that we're the Academy team for a reason here, as they show just absolutely commanding fashion there, taken away with early leads. They found that first blood. We can't remember that was the first minute of this game here, Smacks. They get a triple stun into the triple knockup, and they just set that as the tempo for the rest of the game.
Really feels like Cloud9 Academy are taking full advantage of being player 1 now that because they're the middleest brother, the oldest brother is off to Worlds. They're off to college. They've moved out. They're off to to continue their life. So now they finally get to be Mario, and they get to have controller 1. And they're really making it work for themselves, man, against Cloud9 Amateur. This is some schoolyard bullying going on, but we have to highlight the players in moments like this. Copy on Irelia really taking no prisoners. This guy is popping off every single fight. From the first minute of the game, he levels Flawless Duet and lands a 3-man stun. It was on from start to finish from this guy.
And if we were looking at the last series as, you know, you got to be able to close out your leads, Cloud9 Academy comes in with game 1 and shows us how it is done here. But ladies and gentlemen, it's still a best of 3 series. And with that, we're going to throw it over to a pause as we get set up for game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes here.